The mood around Dallas has shifted from cautious optimism to creeping dread, a heavy cloud settling over AT&T Stadium as the season's script twists toward a storyline no one in Cowboys Nation wants to read. It began with a thud, not the roar of triumph, but the dull echo of cleats trudging off the field in defeat. And now, one blow after another has turned what was supposed to be a year of redemption into a slow-motion collapse. Tyler Booker, the prized first-round pick and centerpiece of a retooled offensive line, is the latest domino to fall. A high ankle sprain, suffered in Sunday's dispiriting loss to the Bears, will sideline him for 4 to 6 weeks. Another name added to a growing list of key players reduced to street clothes and sideline clipboards. Booker had been a rare bright spot in a disjointed offense, logging every snap against Chicago before fate intervened. Now he joined starting center Cooper Beebe, also on injured reserve with the same cruel injury, leaving an already battered front even more vulnerable. TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman, once depth pieces, now thrust into the crucible, will try to plug the holes, but the walls are cracking faster than they can be patched. And Booker's absence is only one symptom of a larger sickness. CeeDee Lamb is out. Trevon Diggs and Darren Bland are gone. What's left is a roster resembling a ghost of its former self, a hollowed-out shell limping into the heart of the season without its spine. And here lies the cruel truth. If Dallas were a truly elite team, this would be survivable. Injuries would sting, but not cripple. Setbacks would test, but not topple. You'd look at the schedule, circle a few winnable games, stay afloat until the cavalry returned. But this team isn't built like that. Not right now. This team, as currently constructed, couldn't even muster a fight against the Chicago Bears. And if you can't stay competitive against a team like that, how are you supposed to weather the storm against the NFL's elite? Lamb's absence should not make the offense unrecognizable, yet here we are, a unit stripped of identity without him. If one man's absence means the whole operation grinds to a halt, then what you have isn't a team, it's a dependency. And dependencies don't survive long in a league that devours the weak. The upcoming stretch of games, once seen as an opportunity to stack wins, now looks like a gauntlet of judgment. Green Bay looms first. And based on current form, there's little reason for optimism. The Jets and Panthers might offer a temporary reprieve. Might. But even then, the Cowboys would limp to a middling 3-3. Best case scenario, Lamb returns by then and injects some life into the offense. Then come the Commanders, Broncos, Cardinals, and Raiders, all theoretically beatable, yet each carrying the potential to further expose Dallas's flaws. They would need to win 5 of their next 7 just to remain relevant, a tall order for a team that hasn't looked capable of stringing together 2 competent quarters, let alone a streak of victories. And even if by some miracle they navigate that minefield and find themselves sitting at 6-4, the mountain only grows steeper. The Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings, Chargers, each a contender with the power to snuff out Dallas's flickering hopes. Where are the wins supposed to come from? Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown tearing through defenses? Kansas City with Mahomes dissecting secondaries at will? Detroit surging and confident? Minnesota with Justin Jefferson poised to feast on a secondary that just made Caleb Williams look like a Hall of Famer and turned Russell Wilson into a vintage version of himself. The same Russell Wilson now benched on a different team. The truth, as painful and brutal as it is to admit, is that there may be no path left. Not with this roster, not with this defense, not with this coaching. The Dallas Cowboys, a franchise once defined by swagger, resilience, and a relentless pursuit of excellence, now stand exposed, stripped of illusion and robbed of identity. The unit that was once their backbone, the defense that struck fear into opposing quarterbacks, has devolved into a liability, an open invitation for offenses to feast. Once opposing coordinators circled the Cowboys on their calendar as a test. Now they circle them as an opportunity, a get-right game, a stat-padding exhibition, a chance to turn a career around. The offense, for its part, is no better. It sputters and stalls not solely because of the avalanche of injuries, but because, at its core, the system is brittle and unimaginative. There's no plan B, no creative spark, no adaptability. It's a machine that only works under perfect conditions. And in the NFL, perfect conditions don't exist. The moment the script veers off course, the moment adversity strikes, everything collapses. And when you pile a cascade of injuries on top of that fragility, you get exactly what we're watching now. A team unraveling in slow motion, slipping from contender to cautionary tale, becoming not the hunter, but the hunted. Even the most optimistic projections, once filled with playoff scenarios and Super Bowl dreams, now crumble under the weight of cold reality. Imagine for a moment a best-case outcome. The Cowboys beat the Jets, Panthers, Commanders, Broncos, Cardinals, and Raiders. That's 5 wins. Add the lone victory they already have, and you're at 6. But then comes the gauntlet. The 49ers, the Eagles, the Lions, the Packers, teams that don't merely beat you but expose you. Suddenly 6 turns into 7. Maybe 8 if the football gods smile on Dallas and every bounce goes their way. But 8 wins? 8 wins is not a ticket to January football. 8 wins is mediocrity. 8 wins is irrelevance. And if this team continues to play the way it did against Chicago, listless, undisciplined, disjointed, even 8 might be a fantasy too generous to entertain. This is not just a slump. This is not just a bad stretch. This is a collapse, systemic, structural, and alarming. The Cowboys, once believed to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders, are now fighting not just for their season, but for their very soul. The defense that once swarmed now leaks yards and chunks. The offense that once hummed now sputters and stalls. Depth, once a strength, has been annihilated, replaced by practice squad call-ups and desperate signings. The stars, the ones this team was built around, are in street clothes. Their replacements? Overmatched, overwhelmed, and overexposed. The coaching staff, meanwhile, seems paralyzed. Their press conference answers sound more like excuses than explanations, their solutions more cosmetic than corrective. And every passing week, every blown coverage, every red zone failure, every embarrassing performance slams the window on this team's aspirations a little tighter. Tyler Booker's absence, in particular, isn't just another injury. It's a symbol, a grim metaphor for everything this season has become. It represents fragility, failure, and a future slipping away. It encapsulates a roster stretched to its breaking point, a franchise staring into the abyss, and a fan base that once believed this was the year, now bracing for heartbreak. Because Booker's injury isn't just about one player's misfortune, it's about momentum lost, confidence shattered, and belief eroded. It's about how one domino falling can topple an entire structure that was far less stable than we were led to believe. Can they rally? In theory, yes. This is the NFL. Stranger things have happened. Teams have risen from the brink before, but hope is not a plan, and miracles are not strategies. Wishing for a turnaround is not the same as engineering one. Until this team proves it can not just survive but compete, truly compete, against quality opponents, every hypothetical scenario is nothing more than wishful thinking dressed up as analysis. And with each passing Sunday, as the losses mount and the standings tighten, that wishful thinking starts to feel more like denial. The harsh